Quotes from the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live. Objective judgment, now at this very moment. Unselfish action, now at this very moment. Willing acceptance, now at this very moment, of all external events. That's all you need. Dwell on the beauty of life, watch the stars and see yourself running with them. Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. It is the nature of the wise to resist pleasures, but the foolish to be a slave to them. Reject your sense of injury, and the injury itself disappears. The art of living is more like wrestling than dancing. To understand the true quality of people, you must look into their minds and examine their pursuits and aversions. Confine yourself to the present. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Life is neither good nor evil, but only a place for good and evil. Accept whatever comes to you woven in the pattern of your destiny, for what could more aptly fit your needs? Because a thing seems difficult for you, do not think it impossible for anyone to accomplish. Death is a natural function of living beings. Despise not death, but welcome it, for nature wills it, like all else. Do every act of your life as if it were your last. Do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good. Each day provides its own gifts. Everything that happens happens as it should, and if you observe carefully, you will find this to be so. He who lives in harmony with himself lives in harmony with the universe. How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it? If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. If you are pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your own judgment about it, and it is in your power to wipe out this judgment now. Life is a warfare and a stranger's sojourn, and after fame is oblivion. Look back over the past, with its changing empires that rose and fell, and you can foresee the future too. Loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight. Never let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present. Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. Our life is what our thoughts make it. Think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now take what's left and live it properly. Time is a sort of river of passing events, and strong is its current. No sooner is a thing brought to sight than it is swept by and another takes its place, and this too will be swept away. Tomorrow is nothing. Today is too late. The good lived yesterday. You must become an old man in good time if you wish to be an old man long. Adapt yourself to the things among which your lot has been cast, and love sincerely the fellow creatures with whom destiny has ordained that you shall live. Men exist for the sake of one another. Teach them then, or bear with them. Remember that man lives only in the present, in this fleeting instant. All the rest of his life is either past and gone, or not yet revealed. The best way of avenging yourself is not to become like the wrongdoer. Take it that you have died today, and your life's story is ended, and henceforward regard what further time may be given you as an unearned surplus, and use it for the furtherance of your soul. Whenever you are about to find fault with someone, ask yourself the following question: what fault of mine most nearly resembles the one I'm about to criticize? Alexander the Great and his mule driver both died, and the same thing happened to both. To live happily is an inward power of the soul. Look within. Within is the fountain of good, and it will ever bubble up if you just dig. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been. Begin each day by telling yourself, today I shall be meeting with interference, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness, all of them due to the offender's ignorance of what is good or evil. Just that you do the right thing, the rest doesn't matter. Because most of what we say and do is not essential. If you can eliminate it, you'll have more time and more tranquility. Ask yourself at every moment, is this necessary? How much time he saves who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does or thinks. Be content to seem what you really are. The best kind of revenge is not to become like unto them. If you find in human life anything better than justice, truth, moderation, courage, and to be free from any perturbation, turn to it with all your heart and enjoy that which you have found to be the best. Let not your mind run on what you lack as much as on what you have already. What is your vocation? To be a good person. To refrain from imitation is the best revenge. Our anger and annoyance are more detrimental to us than the things themselves which anger or annoy us. A person's worth is measured by the worth of what he values. To love only what happens, what was destined, no greater harmony. It is possible to depart from life at this moment. Have this thought in your mind whenever you act, speak, or think. The object of life is not to be on the side of the majority, but to escape finding oneself in the ranks of the insane. Remember how long you have been putting off these things, and how often you have received an opportunity from the gods, and yet do not use it. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. A man should be upright, not be kept upright. Perfection of character is this, to live each day as if it were your last, without frenzy, without apathy, without pretense. Do not then consider life a thing of any value, for look to the immensity of time behind thee, and to the time which is before thee, another boundless space. In this infinity, then, what is the difference between him who lives 3 days and him who lives 3 generations? Your task is to stand straight, not be held straight. Whatever happens at all, happens as it should. You will find this true if you watch narrowly. The color of one's thought dyes one's world. At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work, as a human being. What do I have to complain of if I'm going to do what I was born for, the things I was brought into the world to do? People who love what they do wear themselves down doing it. They even forget to wash or eat. When jarred, unavoidably, by circumstance, revert at once to yourself, and don't lose the rhythm more than you can help. You'll have a better grasp of the harmony if you keep going back to it. Perfection of character, to live your last day, every day, without frenzy or sloth or pretense. Remember that very little is needed to make a happy life. It's silly to try to escape other people's faults. They are inescapable. Just try to escape your own. Let men see, let them know a real man who lives as he was meant to live. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. The obstacle on the path becomes the way. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. The best way to avenge yourself is to not be like that. If the gods exist, then to depart from men is not a thing to be afraid of, for the gods will not involve you in evil. But if indeed they do not exist, or if they have no concern about human affairs, what is it to me to live in a universe devoid of gods or devoid of providence? But in truth, they do exist, and they do care for human things, and they have put all the means in man's power to enable him not to fall into real evils. And as for the rest, if there was anything evil, they would have provided for that also, that it should be altogether in a man's power not to fall into it. Now that it is possible for him to show himself worthy of the universe and worthy of the confidence that is in him, this is a thing which belongs to a man who is conscious of no evil in himself. And when you have seen diligent, self-respecting men who are troubled by no external thing, not even by death, it is reasonable that a man should take courage from this also. Remember how long you've been putting this off, how many extensions the gods gave you, and you didn't use them. At some point, you have to recognize what world it is that you belong to, what power rules it, and from what source you spring. That there is a limit to the time assigned to you, and if you don't use it to free yourself, it will be gone and will never return. Every moment think steadily as a Roman and a man to do what you have in hand, with perfect and simple dignity, and feeling of affection, and freedom, and justice, and to give yourself relief from all other thoughts. You will give yourself relief if you do every act of your life as if it were the last. Labor not as one who is wretched, nor yet as one who would be pitied or admired, but direct your will to one thing only, to put yourself in motion and to check yourself, as the social reason requires. Today I escaped from anxiety, or no, I discarded it because it was within me, in my own perceptions, not outside. External things are not the problem, it's your assessment of them, which you can erase right now.